everyone. This is Tia Torres, and thanks for joining me on another Wild Instincts. So I think, yes, the last time we were here, we were on our way to Sri Lanka with all the animals to do the movie The Jungle Book. And we had a one-night layover in Amsterdam because we could not make it, obviously, all the way there to Sri Lanka in one big swoop. So they had us go to an amazing place at the airport in Amsterdam. And actually, I think New York has one of these too. And they're called the Animal Hotel. The Animal Hotel? Pet Hotel. Animal Hotel, I think. And or maybe the Animal House. And anyways, it's a part of the airport that is set up specifically for pretty much every kind of animal coming in through the airport. Beautiful. So we unloaded all of our animals, and they have caretakers there that would watch them for the night. Now, mind you, of course, the exotic animals were in very large, what we call transfer cages. They were big. Like the tigers could walk around, move around in them. Tatanka, my pit bull, and the wolf dogs were in regular crates. So this is why we took them out, let them stretch their legs, and, said, hey, we're going to put them back. They had a room for them to go in. And I said, but I'm going to take Tatanka with me because she's a dog. I wanted to go with me to the hotel. So it was myself and then the other two trainers, Scott and Chad, were traveling with me. Chad's specialty was primates and Scott's specialty was the bears. And then we had other trainers meeting us in Sri Lanka. So we had what we thought was supposed to be a driver that was hired through production to come pick us up from the airport to take us to our hotel. Didn't show. And we're standing up there on the sidewalk. I got Tatanka on a leash. And I'm like, this is crazy. I think we waited, an hour. And mind you, we're this is back in the early 90s. So the cell phones were not that great. So calling to the US, trying to get a hold of our production company there, it just wasn't working. And I see a public transportation bus come along. I said, you know what? Screw it. Let's get on the bus. They're like, you got a dog. I said, well, I heard that Amsterdam is very dog friendly. So they won't care. All right. We hop on the bus. And we're sitting off. I remember this like it was yesterday. When you walk into the bus, about halfway down, we're sitting on the right-hand side. A couple of stops down the street, they pull over to let some more passengers on. And a couple of very tall, uniformed men. To me, they look more military because they were in green, almost like jumpsuits, like military jumpsuits. But apparently they were the Amsterdam police. They get on the bus, and I'm not sure why they took public transportation, but they got on the bus, and they come to the back of the bus and kind of sit near us. Now, one of them looked like Dolph Lundgren, the actor, the one who played He-Man. Yes, Dolph Lundgren of that time. And I'm like, holy moly, these are the best looking cops I have ever seen. So I'm sitting there going, wow. And the Dolph Lundgren looking one is staring at Tatanka. And then he points and he says, un Peet Bull? And I'm thinking, oh, he's trying to make conversation with me. And I look over at Chad and Scott, and they're rolling their eyes at me like, oh, God. And I'm like, yes, she's a pit bull. He says it again. Un pit bull. I said, yeah, pit bull. And so he gets up, walks to the front of the bus, says something to the driver. And next thing I know, we're pulling over. And he motions for us to get up. I'm like, what? And he puts his hands out and together, well, he was simulating handcuffs, basically. And he says, jail, no Peet Bull. I said, what? What are you talking about? Somebody on the bus spoke English. And they said, pit bulls are not legal in this country. I'm like, wait, what? And so Scott and Chad are like, the look on their face was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. They take us off the bus and we're standing on the sidewalk and now I'm crying. And he's trying to explain to me that like I'm going to go to jail. I have to get it, and I'm like, no, we're Americans. We're making a movie. And I'm trying to explain this, but they don't speak English. I think they speak Dutch in Amsterdam. So people are starting to gather around because we're causing a scene. And Chad and Scott start to walk away. And I'm like, where are you going? And they're like, we're not going to jail with you. I'm like, wait. They left me there on the sidewalk. So somebody finally stops who speaks English because they can hear me screaming in English. And they're talking to the police. And I'm explaining to them that we're Americans making a movie and that this dog is a part of the movie, which she was not. She was just there as my personal dog. And it's finally decided that the person who can, the translator says, okay, so the police are willing to let you go if you go straight to your hotel. Do not bring her out on the street. And since you're leaving tomorrow, you can go. But you can't be seen walking her on the street. And I'm just like, okay. So they helped me figure out how to call a taxi because I got left. And the taxi shows up. And it's a Mercedes-Benz. I'm like, wait. I didn't ask for like a luxury car. And it's explained to me that, no, all the taxis in this area are all Mercedes-Benz. Like, where have I landed? So the taxi driver was not thrilled about having to put un pit bull in his taxi, but the police had words with him and said, yes, you are taking her to a hotel or to my hotel. So I couldn't decide if I was upset over what was going on with my dog being illegal or my heart was broken because this guy was hot, man. I'm like, come on, man. But needless to say, there was no love connection between us. He was all business. So the taxi driver takes me to the hotel and we're talking, it was a 10-minute drive down the street. Now, mind you, Amsterdam is a beautiful place. I will say that. The architecture there, it's just beautiful. 10-minute drive down the street. And as I go to get out, he informs me that my fare is $45. Yeah. $45 for a 10-minute taxi ride in Amsterdam. That was my first sign that things in Amsterdam were a bit more expensive, but more than likely he was probably penalizing me for having un pit bull in his Mercedes. So I paid the $45, obviously. And I get checked into my hotel. They were fine. I mean, I assured them that Tatanka was really well behaved and they didn't really notice that she was a pit bull, I don't think. And I believe it was a dog-friendly hotel too, but they didn't notice she was a pit bull. So they let me check in. And by this time now, I am just stressed out, of course. And I have always been addicted to Coca-Cola. Now, back then I drank the regular Coke Classic in the red can. So I put Tatanka in the hotel room and I noticed that there were vending machines in the hotel the hallway. So I go to buy a soda, a Coca-Cola, and I see all they have is Pepsi products. So I go to the hotel clerk, the desk, and I said, hi, where can I buy a Coca-Cola? And she speaks good English. She says, oh, we don't have that in this city. We just have Pepsi products. Like, wait, what? There's no Coca-Cola in Amsterdam? At the time, I don't know why there wasn't, or maybe in that area, but she says, no, only Pepsi. Okay. So I go back to the vending machine. Now, mind you, this is the early 90s. Sodas in a can back then, what was that, 50 cents? Not in Amsterdam. $3. Now, mind you, at the time, that was like insane. I'm like, okay, my day is not going so well. So I get settled in with my Pepsis, and Chad and Scott, they find me, and of course they think it's funny that they left me. Say, hey, you want to go get something to eat? I'm like, sure, why not? You gonna leave me again? So we get a taxi, and we go driving around. I think we end up getting a pizza, and we're just kind of touring the city in the taxi. And at one point, Chad gets out and says, he tells the taxi driver to stop. There's this place I want to run into. And he tells us, I'm just going to run in really quick and I'll be right out. And he does. Oh, it was a bakery. That's right. It was a bakery. Gets out and has a little bag. And I said, what'd you get? He goes, oh, brownies. Now, mind you, I'm just a redneck back then, like a cowgirl. I didn't know shit about shit. So he ends up taking out a brownie and breaks a piece off for Scott. And then the taxi driver goes, hey, he goes, in his broken, he goes, can I have some of that? And Chad gives him some. And I'm like, the taxi driver wants a brownie? That's a strange thing to, So we're driving around for a couple of hours, I don't know, an hour. And we get into a wreck. The taxi driver hits another car. I'm like, oh my God, So it wasn't too bad, but some cars got dented up. So on impact, we kind of like, whoa, get our bearings. And the taxi driver says, I'm going to go handle this. And as he's getting out of the taxi, he turns around to look at us and say, it's going to be okay. And that's when I see he is so frigging high, buzzed. I'm like, oh my God, you got those kind of brownies. And it's all like, just all kind of like comes crashing down. We're in Amsterdam. We're like, there's hash bars on every corner and it's completely legal. And I'm like, oh my God, you gave our taxi driver one of these supersonic brownies. And he was so messed up that he crashed. This is great. Not only did we crash, but apparently we crashed in the red light district. You've all heard of the red light district. Yes, that was the tour he was giving us. And needless to say, we ended up getting back to our hotel rooms. Tatanka was very happy to see me. I then heard complaints from the desk that she had been barking the entire time, which she never does normally. And I said, that does it. I ain't going nowhere. You all can bring me food. And I can't wait to get the hell out of this city. So that was my time in Amsterdam. But the next morning, we were set to leave to head over to Sri Lanka. Or so I thought. All right. Well, you're just going to have to wait till the next episode to hear the next adventure of my wild instincts. All right. Thanks all. And I will meet up with you on the next one.